I try to keep this show timeless in the sense, so I'm going to ask this question in kind of a broad sense. Do you think there's been a paradigm shift change in the country in recent years?
I'm going to answer this and sound like a complete lunatic, and I know it before I say it that I'm going to sound like a lunatic.
Okay.
Last night,
Okay.
I was reading about the Mayan long count calendar because you know where all the world's going to end on Friday, whatever, and I know that this is a timeless show. So, but I wanted to know what the deal was. You know, do you know what the deal with the Mayans is? We have no idea.
Right.
They view the world as being divided into 4 lifetimes, and we're entering into the 5th lifetime. And I would like to think that as human beings, we are evolving emotionally and spiritually and becoming better. We're becoming better versions of ourselves. Now, do I think we're worse today than we were 50 years ago? I think it depends on who you ask.
Okay.
You know, if you talk to the people that are in countries that were formerly oppressed that are now free,
right,
they would probably have a different answer. If you talk to people in this country that have seen things change that they're uncomfortable with, they may have a different answer. But overall, worldwide, you look at how the world is doing and how many people have been lifted out of poverty and a standard of living that we would never accept in the last 100 years. I think it's hard to argue that in the grand scheme of things, we're not in a better place than we were then.
Okay.
You know, sure, things are not perfect. There are things that are terribly wrong, horribly wrong. But overall, I feel like as a civilization, we're moving forward. And by civilization, I don't just mean the United States of America. I mean humanity. I feel like we're moving forward. At least I hope the Mayans were right, that we're moving into an age of prosperity and all that blah, blah, blah. You know, do it that way you will. I just thought it was interesting you just asked that question.
It's not a lunatic.
I read about it last night for like 30 minutes. It was actually very fascinating to read about that stuff. You know, where it comes from.
Well, we'll see here in a few days.
Well, I'm not racking up my credit card bills. Let me just say that.